Fresh family. Welcome back to the podcast, Life After Trauma. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I have a special friend with me. This is my homegirl, Candace. And it's so ironic that, like, she really my homegirl. We from the same town, born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes.
Both moved away.
Yes.
And then we've both experienced
Trauma.
life-altering trauma.
Yep. Indeed.
Your life-altering trauma is less than a year old.
Almost 7 months now?
7 months. So just give us a brief backstory, because we've had Anissa Lashay on, and she spoke about her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And, the backstory of her collapsing at work. And so give me your initial feelings. How did you find out? So let's go back and tell me how you found out, and walk me up to, briefly, really quick, walk me through how you found out and when you first got to the hospital and saw her.
Okay, if I can make this brief, I'm going to do my best. So, I'm a truck driver. So I was driving, got a phone call on a Saturday morning. So let me back up a little bit. That Thursday, before I left home, Janissa was sitting at the table that morning, and I walked past her. I said, have a good day, Nisa. And then I stopped as I made it to the living room, and I stepped back, and I said, I love you, have a good day. Now, mind you, that's my last time talking to my baby and telling her I love her, have a good day. And then so that as I get on the road that day, I normally drive. I normally start out driving, and I end up not driving. It was just something heavy in my spirit. And so I end up telling my teammate, hey, you drive, and I'm gonna go to sleep. And I couldn't go to sleep, and I tossed and I turned. It was just like my spirit was heavy, and I was tired. And all I could do was lay in the back of the truck and just cry and pray and cry and pray and cover my children. And then the same thing happened that Friday. I cried, prayed.
So what
then
were you crying for?
Because
Just
it was just a feeling. I was tired. I felt, it was like I said, Lord, please save my whole household. Then in turn, I asked God, I said, can you just build my faith? Like, I literally asked him, Lord, build my faith. Now, mind you, I've been in the church all my life.
Right.
I believe. Absolutely. I know God is real.
Absolutely.
And this, that, and the other. But it was just at a point where I was like, Lord, just help me to build my faith. Like, help me to just really just. And then 2 days later, I get a call Saturday morning about almost 6:30 that morning. A young man called, and I answered. And my crazy self, I was like, is this somebody calling me about a job? But then I was like, wait a minute, it's Saturday. Nobody's calling about a job. And then he went on to tell me what had happened with my daughter. And I was like, okay. Now, mind you, like I said, I'm normally asleep. I don't normally drive that time of day. I normally drive during the day, and my teammate is normally driving. So had I not been driving, I would have been sleeping. I would have missed the call, because my phone call, my phone is on Do Not Disturb, and only my girls can get through.
Oh, wow.
So when he called, I happened to be up. And in turn, with me being up, instead of waking up out of my sleep, it gave me time to just sit there and just call on Jesus. Now, mind you, I have a 4-hour drive to make it back to my child. And when I say it was the longest 4 hours, but all I could do was just call on Jesus, call on Jesus.
So what did the guy say?
He said, hey, I'm Janissa's manager. She's been rushed to the hospital. She fell out at work. And I said, she fell out at work? He said, yeah, she fell out at work. She couldn't breathe, and they had to resuscitate her a few times. I said, resuscitate? Well, bring her back a few times. And I was just like, and I really couldn't comprehend, but I knew it had to be serious.
So she's 20.
She was 27 at the time.
27 years old.
Yeah, she was 27 at the time. And I was just like, what? So I just really had to keep my composure. And I leaned back and I told my teammate, she was already sleeping. I said, hey, and I was, when I say I was just cool and calm, I said, I forgot her name, but I said, hey, I said, they done rushed my daughter to the hospital, and they said she couldn't breathe, and they had to bring her back. And she said she immediately started crying and praying. And she really didn't know, she was half asleep or whatever.
Right.
And so once she woke up, she was able to tell me, hey, the hospital she's at is right off this exit. You just keep going instead of going to the yard
Right.
to take the truck, because I normally bring the truck home.
Oh, okay.
And so
she just let you off there.
Yeah, she said,
and then she took the truck
she took
and you
the
went
truck.
on to the hospital.
She let me out in front of the emergency room.
Right.
she said, when we get to the light,
You hop out.
you switch with me, and then I'm gonna take you on. And once I got to the hospital and to walk in that room and see my daughter, literally like she was just shaking, like she was getting shocked, I immediately broke down because I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't fathom what had just taken place. I was like, Lord, what's... So at that time, I had to try to put it together to try to get an understanding of what's happening.
And what they say, what the doctors say.
They really didn't know what to tell me. The number one thing they told me, that they could not intubate her, and they didn't know why. They had to keep doing several tubes. And so, mind you, some years ago, my daughter had an aggressive form of thyroid cancer. Mm-hmm. And we believe that her scar tissue obstructed her airway. Mm-hmm. And so they couldn't they couldn't intubate her. So that's what took so long to get her intubated, and they had to keep resuscitating because they didn't know. And so, yeah, they really didn't know what happened, and they still to this day don't know what happened. We could only equate it to the fact of maybe her airway was obstructed from the scar tissue.
Oh, wow. So what was your first wave of emotions once you saw her?
I broke down immediately because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was taking place. I immediately broke down and started crying. And then once I cried, I said, okay, Candace, you got to pull it together. I immediately, because my teammate, she had packed my backpack, I immediately got my backpack, and I carry oil with me. I got my oil out my backpack, and I started anointing my baby and praying for my baby. And my grandbaby did the same. She said, I want to anoint my Tisa. And she anointed her Tisa and said her prayer. That was my initial reaction. So my concept on crying is that if I do so much crying, when you cry, you get a headache. Mm-hmm. You can't think straight. Mm-hmm. You can't see straight. Mm-hmm. I shedded a tear, but I said, let me wipe these tears. I got to be focused. Mm-hmm. I got to make sure I can see clear as to what it is that I need to do next for my baby. And so I immediately had to dry those tears up because I had to get it together to figure out what I need to do.
So, yeah, that's... And the fact that they didn't know is what's so mind-boggling. But here we are, 6-7 months later.
Almost 7 months later.
And she's still basically in the same condition that she was in when you saw her.
Has not waken up.
She hasn't wakened from the coma. She hasn't shown a lot of progression. Mm-hmm. So what made you say no when they came to you and said, this is the end, and Anissa said, here's palliative care, and we're going to let you know what they do. So what made you say, I'm not taking that route?
Listen, so she went to 2 hospitals, right? So on March the 30th, that Saturday, she transferred from Southern Regional to Emory Hospital in order to get her trach in. She got her trach on that Monday, April the 1st. So I stayed with her from that Sunday, I believe, until that Wednesday. And so that Monday, I was looking at my phone. You get your daily Bible app and get your daily scripture. Mm-hmm. And so that Monday, April the 1st, I got Ephesians 6:12 through 13. And if people know the Bible said, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against those principalities, okay? Tuesday, I opened up my phone, got the same scripture. I said, now, wait a minute. I said, is it because I'm in the hospital? Mm-hmm. Is something wrong with my phone?
Miss Service, because the scriptures change daily.
Exactly, the scriptures change daily.
But this particular day,
the
day system 2 gave you the same scripture from the day before.
Uh-huh.
And that was a sign.
Then Wednesday gave me Ephesians 6:12 through 13 again. Mm. So I said, okay.
So tell me what's Ephesians 6:12 through 13.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against those principalities. And I said, okay, so that's what I'm wrestling against. I'm wrestling against. I said, okay, God. I said, now I need to get quiet because I need to understand what God is telling me. Right. Now, mind you, that Wednesday, that Thursday, that's when they pulled me and Jay into the room and said, hey, we got palliative care. Said, hey, we got a place for her here that we can make her comfortable, take her off the ventilator. She can go in peace. So I was
what made you say no?
I get home. I go home. Because they gave us time to think. They told us, we'll give y'all time to think about it, this, that, and the other. So I went home. I said, okay, God, I got to get quiet. I got quiet. I got a purple mat. I laid out in front of my bed, started praying, had my Bible. Then I got in the bed. I said, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. Maybe God will tell me something in the morning. I woke up the next morning. I said, no, Lord, you ain't tell me nothing. I slept good. I slept good. Open up my Bible app. It was Ephesians 6:14. Now, mind you, I just told you, April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, it was Ephesians 6:12 through 13. April 4th was Ephesians 6:14. Now, mind you, I'm looking for the answer. The answer that you asked me, what made me, because the first word of that verse says stand. I said, okay, God, that's my sign.
Yeah.
The stand?
Yeah.
After what they just told us the day before, the stand? Mm-hmm. I said, okay, God, I'm standing. Mm-hmm. I'm standing.
So you go back and tell them.
We didn't even tell them nothing. We just kept on. We good. We not finna make no decisions. We not finna make no decisions. But then I'm finna tell you this. The Saturday before this, a lady prophesied to me and told me she saw in the spirit where, in the Bible, where they marched around the walls of Jericho, and she saw a baseball team marching around, and they said, hey, it's going to be a tough fight, but we got to continue to fight in order to win. And I was like, a baseball team? I said, oh, man, my daughter plays softball. Mind you, she was just at home. She was just in Birmingham for an alumni softball game. Mm. But I'm finna tell you this. The next day, that Friday, which was April the 5th, he gave me Ephesians 6:16. That Saturday, Ephesians 6:17. That Sunday, Ephesians 6:18. Now, mind you, I read the whole scripture. Now, mind you, I just told you we played softball, and the lady said she saw a baseball team. When I read the whole scripture and got down to probably verse 15 to 16, I jumped up out the seat. I said, Janissa, you are already covered. Ask me what position my daughter played in softball.
Tell me.
She the hind catcher. The hind catcher has on a helmet. The Bible said have on a helmet of faith. Mm-hmm. Have on a shield. Mm-hmm. Have on protection. You got to shod your feet, meaning you got to plant your feet. I said, girl, you already covered. That's what made me stand. That's what made me say, okay, I ain't studying none of these people say, because God is directing me. He got the final say. And so that's how then 2 weeks later, my baby off the ventilator, breathing on her own. 2 weeks later.
So we're 6 months, 7 months later, and she's still off the ventilator.
Still off the ventilator.
Breathing on her own.
Breathing on her own.
At home.
At home. Mm-hmm.
She's just not able to follow commands.
She just hasn't waken up. Now she do her little moving. If you touch, she gonna stretch. So she's not in a coma. Because if you're in a coma, you don't move at all.
Okay. So what do they call it?
They call a permanent vegetative state.
And in that state, you can react to touch. So she reacts to touch.
Yeah, if we mess with her feet, so like if she have her feet stretched out, and we'll grab it, she'll let them down. She stretches. If I'm cleaning her face, she
turns her head away.
Yes.
And they said even with that, there's no brain activity.
They're not saying that it's no brain activity.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not, because if it was no, that means she was brain dead.
Right.
Yeah, they're not saying it's no activity. It's just not, I don't know what the word is. I guess enough to where she would be able to be herself.
Right.
She would come back to be herself. So they're not saying it's no brain activity, because it's obvious brain activity, because she moving.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now, you, your daughter, your mother, you're her caregivers.
Right. My mom, live in Birmingham.
When she comes to assist you guys.
Yeah, here and there.
So it's just basically around the clock, you and your daughter, that's her care. How are you balancing caregiving, work, being a mother, grandmother? Wait, so you were at work when you got the call.
I was driving.
When did you go back to work?
I haven't been to nobody's job since the day that this happened. Because I have to care for my child 24/7. I've been at her bedside 24, even during the course of time she was in the hospital. When she was at Southern Regional, we couldn't stay. But as soon as she got to Emory, we were staying with her. Somebody was at the hospital with her every single day.
What's the emotional toll that this taken?
Man, listen. It's unfathomable. Like, I have days where I just go and stand over her and just look at her and just cry. Because I don't understand. Mm-hmm. Like, I really don't understand how did we get here. And I'm constantly asking that question. Like, how did we get here? Like, my baby don't deserve this. That's my baby don't deserve this. But I know, it's a lesson. It's something that we got to. It's for somebody. I've been saying day one, this situation is for somebody.
So where do you find the strength to persevere through the hard times when you standing over her, looking and just crying?
Because I know my children depend on me, and it's just been me and my girls, and so they're looking at me. I would say I'm their shero, or however you would put it, but I know that they're depending on me. Mm-hmm. And so I have to keep fighting. I have to keep fighting until she says she don't want to fight no more. I have to keep fighting.
When there's little fight,
I still have to keep fighting. My scripture is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. As long as he give me breath and strength every day, I have to keep on going.
Right.
Yeah, I have to keep on going. So that's how I go. That's how I make it. So
when it comes to your household, mm-hmm. how what's drastically different other than her vocal absence?
Well, let me say this. Janissa is not vocal a lot. She's really quiet. Mm-hmm. So when I normally would see her is, if I'm at home in the bed and she, getting off work, I'm finna head to work, she come into the room, hey, Mom, give me a hug. She going on about her business. She's really quiet. So just the fact of her, and I tell her all the time, I say, I just want you to say, hey, Mom. Hey, Mom. And that's how she said, hey, Mom, mm-hmm. in that soft voice. And so that's what I'm missing, the hey, Mom. Mm-hmm. And then even, like I said, our last encounter, I said, girl, I love you. Have a good day. Mm-hmm. And she said that, she said, I love you too, Mom. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I'm missing. And it was a big change for me to have to get rid of our car. So I had got her a car in 2020. Mm-hmm. And so that meant I had 2 car notes and 2 insurance now. Mm-hmm. So it kind of hurt me to have to mm-hmm. kind of downsize. And even my neighbor came over. He said, I just want to, it kind of hurt me to know that the car. I said, well, she good. She still, because he thought, get rid of the car. She was gone. Yeah, she was gone. I was like, no, she we still taking care of her. She's in there. She's good. And so that's been a big change. Not seeing her car. Mm-hmm. She's not pulling up in the driveway. Just mm-hmm. just seeing my baby. And then to look at her pictures and just to know that she was so vibrant, but she was so quiet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm missing. And then my oldest baby about to be 30. We can't turn up. Then I just had a birthday last Sunday. Birthday. My baby couldn't turn up with me. So it's just, Like, man, I don't. And then she had a birthday in May, the day before,
Right.
the day after she got out of the hospital. She turned 28, and so we couldn't, it was, yeah.
Do you feel like you've lost a sense of yourself? Feel like there's something missing with you?
Yes, because my baby is a part of me. And so with her lying in the bed, that's not her. That's her state now, but that's not her.
Oh, you know her ass.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the part of me that's because as you say, people say your heartbeat. So that's a third of, well, shoot, that's now it's a fourth of my,
Right.
because my grandbaby.
Right.
So that's a fourth of my heartbeat, So I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I some days I don't be knowing if I'm going or coming for real. So
what's your advice? We know that no one is exempt, and this
Indeed.
This can happen to anyone. There's no signs. She got up and went to work that day, like she went to work the day before, normal day. So what is your advice? Like, there's somebody else that's going through this. They've just got the call. They're sitting at the hospital. What is your advice to them? Because right now, they could be on the edge of just breaking and saying, you know what? They say here's palliative care, and then we're gonna do this and let her go peacefully. What is your advice to someone else going through that? It's new to them. This is day 5.
listen, me and my children have a bond that's super strong. And if you have a bond with your children, even if you don't, stand with and for your children, because in this situation, you're their advocates. I don't know if you believe in God or not, but I would say talk to God, pray for your children, and let Him lead you, because that's who leaded me. That's why I'm still standing today, because.
But what if they don't have the faith that we have? Because this is definitely a test.
It really is.
Of
It
your
really,
faith first.
it really is. Now, it
So
really is.
So everybody's not that strong.
They not.
So you telling her just stand with God, and nobody, you didn't really want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? You were told that, but this is a weekend, and they telling them that this is it.
Even if they tell you this is it, the best thing I can tell you to do is follow your instinct. Even if I didn't have God, I'm still standing 10 toes down for my children. I'm still going to fight until the end, until they stop fighting. Mm-hmm. That's when I'll start. When they stop fighting, meaning they're tired, and my daughter has not shown me anything that she's tired. Now,
You think she can?
I think if she shows me she's tired,
You think she can? Do you think she has the ability?
I think
to
it will be
show
her
you?
not breathing. Yeah, I think it will be her just.
But do you think she can just stop breathing on her own?
No.
Her heart is pumping.
Yes.
She's gonna still. Do you ever feel like you're selfish by holding on to her, by keeping her alive?
So Jay and I, we constantly talk about that even now. It would be a difference if she was on a ventilator and the ventilator's breathing for her, and that would be what was keeping her alive. But for her to be breathing on her own, it's like I can't. It's nothing that I'm not gonna stop feeding her, because we got to eat. That's what we eating to be alive. Right. So it's nothing that I would do or could do to say, okay, well, I'm just gonna let her. It would have to be something that happens on her own, naturally. Or that naturally.
Because if anything, if you do anything, it would be considered
murder. Exactly. Yeah. So
it would be. Let me change those words.
Yeah.
If we could do anything, it would be taking her life.
Right.
Yeah. It would
Right.
be you taking her life
Right.
by not feeding her,
Right.
not providing her with the
Right.
adequate nutrients.
Right.
Do you
Right.
feel like if she had a decision, seeing herself right now, that she would want to live in this state?
Being the go-getter person that she is, I would say no, but she ran so much, so I feel like she's at a place of rest where she's getting rest because she ran so much. And I'm gonna tell you this right fast. Her car that I got her in 2020, up until the time I traded it in the 1st of August, so it's been 4 years, she had almost 150,000 miles on it.
Oh, wow.
So that lets you know she was a mover and a shaker. Now, I know she wouldn't want to be, like, especially not me seeing her body. Not me bathing. Me, her sister, her grandmother, she definitely be like, I mean, because I'm like, girl, I don't want to birth you. You mean, if I go and crack her door, she be like, I'm like, girl,
Right.
what you coming for? You ain't got nothing.
I had that.
Like, you ain't got nothing.
Right. I
So in reality, no, I know that, you know, if she wouldn't want to be in this bed to where I'm cleaning her and I got to feed her through a tube and she got this catheter. She just wouldn't want that. But I at this point, all I know to do is care for her because she's here. She's here. So I have to keep caring for her I guess in her mind, she decided or until the Lord said, hey, you know,
right.
This it. You know.
Do you think if you had the opportunity to do it all over again, and you get a rewind back to that day, knowing what you know now, living these 7 months the way that you've lived, do you feel like if given that chance, the opportunity over again on that day, knowing what you know, to say, hey, if we if we turn this ventilator off, like, she's going to pass? Because right now, her lungs were not built up strong enough for her to breathe by herself. They were breathing for her. Would you change anything?
In all honesty, I just wouldn't have the heart to do it. I just couldn't, because although I gave her life, I don't have a right to take her life. Like, I don't feel like I have that right to say, okay, enough is enough. I mean, when I say this is a tough situation, and it really takes some time just to really think about everything that has transpired, because it's really a lot, and I definitely wouldn't want nobody to be in this position to try to make a decision as to, do I need to take my child to the ventilator, or is it? Now I will say this: if they had said that she was literally brain dead, that means it's nothing. It's no coming back. I believe I would have said okay.
But did they give you that hope? Did they tell you that there was a possibility that she could recover any consciousness, or did they give you that hope that she could recover from this?
You know what's so crazy? When she went back into the hospital in July the 18th.
4 months after the incident.
And the neurosurgeon, they did a CT. And the very thing we had asked them for in April, which was to put a shunt in, because they said they had saw swelling and bleeding on the brain, and they told us she wasn't a candidate. When the neurosurgeon saw her scans, and excuse me, and he said to me, and he showed me the scans, he said, this is probably why she hadn't woke up.
Which is?
Because she had this fluid
Oh, in the brain.
On her brain.
So they didn't remove the fluid from the brain because they felt like it wasn't
gonna be helpful. It
wouldn't be beneficial.
So they didn't do the shunt because they felt like it wasn't gonna be beneficial. So my whole thing is, when she got to the hospital this time, why
do the shunt?
Why do the
shunt right now? What did they say? When you said, why are you doing it now? If you said you wouldn't do it.
Because she got too much. And like I said, the neurosurgeon said, this is probably why she hasn't waken up. She has compared to April, when I say April, it was very minimum. And they say it was blood on the brain. It's bleeding on the brain, swelling on the brain. But the reason I guess the description of when she got in the hospital on July the 18th was water on the brain. When I say the fluid was so massive,
it was massive. Had they not removed the fluid, there would have been an aneurysm.
Yeah. It would have killed her.
So they did that to keep her alive at the hospital a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Was that the same hospital that said, here's palliative care? Oh, okay.
And the same hospital said she wasn't a candidate for the shunt in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the hospital, has there been medical expenses that's caused financial stress? Have you had issues with the hospital?
I haven't had any issues with the hospital. Now, we do have bills, but it's nothing that I can't pay a $300,000 bill. It's nothing that I can do at this point. Now, we was able to get her Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it started April the 1st. So everything that accumulated prior to, which was March 16th, was not paid for from the previous hospital and from Emory.
Oh, wow.
So
because she's working at the airport, right? And she didn't have insurance?
Not to my recollect.
Yeah, and she would know that.
She would know that.
And no one would have that information but her and them. Because she's an adult.
And
she was,
right. Yeah. And even though I've reached out to Human Resources, I've gotten no help from her job.
Wow.
No correspondence. I called probably right after this happened, talked to a lady, and tried to call back and left a message. No response. No nothing.
Yeah. That's and that's the reason that we're bringing forth awareness, so they can be aware that these are issues that you may face when dealing with life after trauma. What lessons have been valuable? Like, what have you learned? What have you taken most from this?
Lessons? Oh man.
With me, it's been patience.
You gotta have a whole lot of that.
Yeah. I've learned a lot of patience.
Gotta have a whole lot of that, because it's like you're not on your time, you're on these people's time, and so you just have to. Even down to they done put us out the hospital both times. Like, they just pushed us out. We didn't even have the supplies we need at home, and they pushed us out the hospital. So it's like, okay, I digress, because I don't know. I'm doing my best to, So, okay, let me be patient and just try to figure this stuff out. It's just, but when I say it's a lot, it's a lot.
Yeah. So are there times that you feel disconnected from your daughters, from the house, from the situation, and you feel like you just want to run away, get away, leave?
Plenty of times. But then I think, and I be like, my children, my girls are everything to me. So, and even the times I've had another friend invite me, on a weekend to the lake and stuff, and I've sat at the lake, fished, but the whole time my children on my mind. My children, just trying to get back to my children on my mind. It's plenty of days I just be wanting to leave the house, but then I said, well, who gonna take care of Janissa? Who gonna see her MJ? So
Let's talk about friends.
I love my babies.
You're not disconnected where you want to just run away, because if you feel like you're gonna run away, you're gonna go back even faster. That's how I feel. Yeah, I may want to run away, but I'm gonna get back quicker.
Exactly.
I'm trying to get back there so quick.
Exactly.
How is dating? Is there dating? What about how is relationship after trauma? Do you incorporate a relationship? Do you think someone would understand? How is it?
My.
You young?
They ran the opposite direction. They was already running before, because I guess because me being a truck driver, and they can't relate. I don't know, but even the more so now, I can't even get nobody to pick up the phone and just to call, just to. But I will say this: it is a young man, a couple of young men, but
you entertain them
pretty much, because I'm like, right now, if you can't understand that my babies are 24/7, and if you can't understand my schedule as to, okay, this will be the time that I could probably get away for a brief moment or whatever, then it's nothing that I can, and I don't have time to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's pretty difficult. I thought it was difficult before, but it's even more difficult now. But my whole, my children have always been my life, and don't get me wrong, I've always wanted to be married.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not just gonna be married just to say, for the sake of me saying I'm married,
right,
or having somebody.
Right.
So yeah, it's difficult. But hey, I digress.
You say you're gonna roll with it.
I'm just gonna roll with it. Like I said, I talk to people. They'll call me here and there, and I just, I talk to them, entertain them. But for the most part, I told this young man, was it last night or yesterday, day before yesterday? I said he's gonna, whoever get me, they're gonna have to be a special kind of person. I said, because number one, my daily situation is caring for my daughter, and I know that I'm a good woman, and I know that I have a lot to offer, but right now it's imperative that I see at my daughter, because I'm her main caregiver. Although she has her sister, she has her grandmother,
mm-hmm.
but she's depending on her mother. So I have to be there. I don't know nothing else. And I definitely don't want to put her nowhere where somebody can take advantage of her or hurt her or not, or mistreat her, neglect her. Because everybody that comes to our home, they're like, oh, she very well taken care of. Y'all doing a good job. Y'all do. And that's the standard that we want to keep. I don't want her, with somebody messing over her. So
right.
Yeah.
So how does it affect your mental, seeing her in this state for 7 months? How do you cope? How do you cope with the mental aspect of it?
I really can't.
For me, I think it's crying and understanding that it's an emotional roller coaster, and no 2 days are the same. And I may be totally fine right now. In 5 minutes, I could literally see something on TV, see a young kid DJing, see a young kid with dreadlocks walking, and it could break my heart as to where I literally have to leave that place and just try to pull myself together. So mentally, it's tough.
It really is.
And you have those mental challenges too?
So like today, I was on a Zoom call, and I was scrolling through my phone, and Jay, my oldest daughter, had posted a post that she had been up, all through the night and praying for her sister. And I was looking at the picture that she posted, and just the words that she was saying in reference to her sister. And it broke me, because I'm like, man, my baby in this situation, and her sister is about to be 30, and she can't partake in that. And I immediately broke down, and I'm sitting in front of a whole group of people on Zoom, and I'm trying to push my laptop back, because and it just overtakes you, at whatever point you just overtaken by emotions. I mean, sitting in the car, sitting at the table, standing in the kitchen,
No
just
2 seconds are the same.
it's all different. Standing at her bedside, Jay will come in some days and I'm standing over there. She said, "Mom, what you feeling? And I'm like, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Like I don't know. I just don't be feeling like I'm doing enough for my
Feel
baby.
like you could do more? Do you feel like you could do more?
I keep getting asked that question. But what more can I do? I guess what more?
Yeah, right. I'm asking you, like,
what more can I do? But
like, do you now? Let me ask you this: Do you has the caregiving, has it taken a toll on your physical? Do you like, because it's a lot. Mentally, it's a lot.
Just mentally, but
Not physically.
not physically, because I'm like
turning and moving. Your
it's
back
like
never hurts.
because it's like I got and it's almost like I do it
with ease,
with ease and with a smile, because I guess because it's my baby.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah,
it's
my baby, and to know that I'm keeping her clean, I'm keeping her together, I keep her hair twisted, I keep it's just. But it's just those days where you just be like, man, how come she in this situation? Like, dang, it's rough, having to make it. And it's a difference if you had a small baby. Small baby, you got to change the diaper, this, that. But this is a grown person that you literally have to turn, you have to turn, you have to clean, they can't do, nothing for themselves. And I just like I said, I just continue to fight because it's my children, it's my baby. I don't know nothing else. I don't know, like I said, I don't know nothing else. It's just always been me and my girl. So I just do it with her. I'm excited to. If she needs suctioning, let me go on because I gotta get her situated. I got to, I just do it because I'm excited to do it, and I know that she can't do it for herself, and it has to be done. So, yeah.
So what do you do when it comes to self-care? You have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, how can you take care of her? Do you invest anything in self-care?
As far as what? I just went for my birthday to get my nails done. That's something I would normally do every 2 weeks. So that's it. That's my self. That was my self-care. Oh, and then my daughter paid for me. Her dad paid for me to go get a massage for my birthday. So I did that the other day. That was it. No other self-care. Like, I don't.
There's no time.
It's no time. Like, it's no time because she eats every 4 hours. In between, you want to try to give her water in between. And then if she coughing, and you got to suction, you got to clean out the trach, you got to change it, you got to do it. So it's really no time. And
so when family comes to visit, that was not meant to be a joke. That was not meant to be a joke.
Because you got to be joking.
So people leave. And we're going to close it with this. Nobody owes you anything, and we understand. And people leave. People have their own life. They have their own things going on. But just tell them how important it is to have family, to pick up the phone, to call. Like, what is it that you miss most about, or what do you wish would be the case when it comes to families? Educate some of the other families on what they can do, because this situation is going to happen to somebody else. And they're going to say, I remember seeing that video, and now my family member is in that position. So what do you?
So let me say this. In your family, you have your A1s, the people that rock with you no matter what. Just because your family member in this situation and you don't know what to say to them, still keep having the same conversation y'all been having. Still pick up the phone and say, girl, what you doing? You okay? Still have those same conversations, because I've had family members that prior to this happening, we talked several times a week. And now I haven't heard from them since March.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that's that absence?
I cannot fathom it. Even if it's just, let me send them send a text and say, girl, cuz I'm sorry, I just, I know life been life for you and life been life for me. I just want to check to see. I can't fathom that, because I've always been that person, just concerned, with people, what they have going on. And I run to people, even recently we ran to Alabama, for my daughter's auntie, and we have yet to hear from them.
Right. But
so
but you understand, but you do understand they're not you. And you can't expect for people to treat you the way that you treat them.
Exactly.
And they'll never understand this situation.
Exactly.
It's impossible for them to.
Exactly.
You didn't understand it when it happened to me. And it was me, but you would still pick up the phone like you said.
Exactly.
I may not call you every day, every week, every month, but I'm going to call you and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you, sis. I'm going to pull up on you every now and then. Jay came out to California and visited us. So, but that's how you were raised. Exactly. And that's how you raise your children. Mm-hmm. And you would think that they would do the same thing, but like you say, life be life. Mm-hmm. But but the word is, if you have someone going through anything, you have no idea on what it means to know that you've picked up that phone, or even send that text message and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. It's like, God, I really needed that. Because most of the time, that's what we say.
Exactly.
I needed that.
Exactly.
So if somebody always replying, I needed that, they mean they need something. Give it more often. It takes 5 minutes of your time to say,
that's it.
To say, I'm here.
Oh, I love you.
Or just to say,
cuz I love you.
Yeah. I don't have nothing to give you. I don't have long for a conversation. I'm just shooting you a text message to say, I don't understand, but I'm sympathetic and empathetic with your situation.
Indeed.
And that's what it is.
That's it.
Guys, this has been a good episode. Again, we just, I want to bring forth awareness that, you never know. No one is exempt. Mm-hmm. Y'all remember, failure is not an option. Faith without work is dead. Mm-hmm. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. Because you are not exempt. This could happen to anyone. Until next time, we appreciate you. This episode, Candace, my homegirl. We're both experiencing life after trauma, but we're bringing forth awareness. And then we want to make sure that, we're here for you. Anyone going through this situation.
And there's still a lot to be said. There's still a lot to be told. So just, I like to say, just look forward to more information, because it's still stuff that's happening, still behind the scenes that we can, educate you on. So, hey, yeah.
Again, happy belated birthday. We appreciate you guys, for coming. Life After Trauma, the podcast. Until next time, bye for now.
Peace.